Budget Committee meeting to order. We do have minutes from April the 8th. Entertain a motion to approve those. Have a motion and a second. Is there any questions? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, at this time, I'd like to ask GC if he would come forward.
Members of the Budget Committee, before we get to what's on the agenda, I'd just like to give you a summary of where we've been in the pilot program since 2006 when we started. Since that time, the Budget Committee has approved 24 projects. As of today, 10 are active. So we have 10 active projects under our program, considering the one that you approved last month. Our average time that we, under a pilot agreement, has been just under 5 years, 4.7 years. So when you look at the Oracle projects, I know we're comparing different things, but that's a 25-year abatement that Metro just approved this evening or last evening to recover $175 million of infrastructure. So I think we've been very conservative. I think the projects that we've done have paid benefits to us, and I think having a 7-year cap on any program at a time has been a good things that we've worked with. So I appreciate that. What I'd like to discuss this evening with you is a project that I don't know where the name came from. It's not a name that we came up with. The company can't tell us where it came from, nor the location consultant. I've spelled it backwards. It doesn't mean anything. It must have been somebody's pet name or something at one time. But I'll talk a little bit about the project. This company is nationally known. I'm under a non-disclosure agreement, but I think as the things I put in this memo, you can probably figure it out with a little research. But they are in the animal care industry. They ship products to your home all the time. They are considering a site here and down in Manchester to construct a 700,000 square foot building. What's unusual about this is that they just don't ship to stores. They ship individually, which is why you see a $47 million projected investment of equipment. A lot of scanning equipment, a lot of racks, a lot of electronics, a lot of IT things that go into this project that typically you don't see in logistics industry, but certainly they're getting there because we're shipping everything individually. Originally, we looked at the project that was going to be about 1,000 employees. They've come back and upped that number to 1,200 employees. So what you see in your evaluation is based on 1,000 employees. I didn't want to go back and spend another $350 of our money just to tell you that the project's even better than what we had, which is what we do in that evaluation from an independent source. So what it says is that, you know, for each dollar that we abate, we project there's at 1,000 employees, $4.62 that comes back. That's materials that you buy, that's construction folks, that's homes that are sold, that's groceries that are bought. Over this period of time, over this 7-year period, we think there's about $4.62 for every dollar that we abate. Now, that's assuming something that, you know, everybody that works there lives in this county, and that's not necessarily the case. But if you just took it at 50% of their 1,200 employees, it still goes down to a 2-to-1 ratio. We've never dropped below that ratio. It's a very unique building that they're going to build. There's a 10-year lease. There's 2 5-year extensions built into the lease. So I'm pretty sure that once they get here, they're going to stay here for the investment. They will start, you see where it's located, and it is down Couchville Pike. We've worked with Sonia on a lot of developments there, and you'll see it's to the west side of the Couchville Pike and I-840 interchange, right next to the Vijon building. So that's sort of a summary of the project. it is a 7-year, which we think is because of the 1,200 employees, and even at that level, I would ask that you consider that in your evaluation. The JCDB Executive Committee evaluated the project this morning, and it was approved unanimously by those 5 people that voted on it. If you have any questions, be glad to talk to you about it. I wish I could, say more. Sometimes I feel like I put you guys on point. You have to, believe in what we say, and we take your trust very seriously, and I would ask for, your consideration for this.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion and a second to approve the pilot proposal. I will not try to say the name.
Ethlodonis.
Um,
Ethlodonis, I believe. It sounds like a Greek god, but I don't know what that is.
Any questions or concerns for GC? All in favor, say aye. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yes.
You got 10 active pilots. Are any rolling off in the near future?
And that's, I had made my notes, and you must have checked on them. Yes, sir, we have a 10, counting the one that we approved last month. A Federal Express rolls off in 22, Genesco in 2023, and we have 6 of those 10 that roll off in 2024. So we had some active projects 4 to 5, 6 years ago. We averaged maybe 2 a year, 1.5 or 2 a year, but certainly by the year of 24, we probably only have 3 or 4, assuming we don't have some other opportunities. Thank you, Dan.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. GC, I want to say thank you very much for what you do, and your leadership is very important to all this. And you and the mayor and the committee, I think this is great. I'm glad this is something we got started.
Well, it holds our hands. It allows me to say, we're going to look at it in a business like, we're going to help you get here, but we're going to get you on the tax road as soon as you can. And I think that's been a real good process for us. Most pilots you see across the state are 10 or 12 years. They may abate a less percentage, but we get them back on the tax road as soon as we can. I think that's outside of the jobs. These jobs will not come to the market probably the 3rd quarter of 2022 because of the construction. So we've got some jobs to fill between now and then, and hopefully we got these in the pipeline. Thank you,
Thank you
Mr.
very
Chairman.
much.
May I ask GC one question? I should have asked at the JCD board meeting. Do we have any vacant industrial buildings now?
We don't have industrial land because that's very hard to find. We probably, I think our total number of industrial buildings is 27 that we track. We probably got about 20 industrial sites. So you've got, you probably got 4 or 5 that's coming on the market at different sizes. But yeah, we work well. And again, those developers know that if they bring us the right type project, we'd be interested. Keep in mind, Amazon, 3.8 million. We didn't do a pilot for that on the last 2. So there's big projects that we're going to get involved in, and we don't offer it up unless we think we have to. Thank you, Mr.
Okay, Aaron, you're up.
All right.
Batter up.
Feel like a Baptist preacher. So the first thing that I gave you, all the big handouts, that's the biggest paper I could get them on, the budget timeline that we had. Finance Department will work all budget sheets into one document, which will be distributed to the Budget Committee during the regularly scheduled meeting on May 6, 2021. This document will be for the Budget Committee to review and acknowledge only. No action will be taken on these documents during the May 6, 2021 meeting. The Budget Committee will have from May 6 until May 17 to review all budget documents presented. So that's what I gave you tonight. Not only did I give you that, I also gave you the preliminary needs list, which has been sent out to all the department heads to check to be sure that it is accurate and nothing has been omitted. So when they come to you on the 18th and 19th, I believe, you know, it won't be the first time that you're seeing, so you can already have your questions lined up if, as necessary. So that's really all I got to say about that, because we're not asking you to take any action. I just wanted to be sure you had plenty of paper in case you needed an extra pillow. On the finance report itself, really excited. At the end of April, you've received 99.23% of your revenues in the general fund. Okay, so fantastic. Your expenditures are at 74.42% of budget. So at this moment, again, don't get too excited. I told you it costs between $4.5 and $5 million a month to operate the general fund. But at this moment, you're 14 million in the black. Now you're headed into 2 months that are not high revenue months, May and June. So, but I do expect it to be the year to finish, you know, strong. And that really concludes my report as far as the general finances of the county goes. Anybody have any questions on that part? Good enough. You ready for me to proceed with budget amendments, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The first one is for animal control. They're requesting $10,000 out of general fund balance to do some improvements to the flooring. I'm sure Mr. Marlowe, I saw Mary, I don't know if she's still here, she was out in the hall. Mr. Marlowe could speak more to that if anybody has any questions.
Just the same thing that came out last month?
Yes. Yeah, this was, we talked about it last month, but we gave it to the mayor to talk to maintenance about, and we had the 3 bids. This is fixing cracks in the floor, areas that paint's coming off the walls, and then they will resurface the floor and so far up the wall. I can't remember, 3 feet? Okay, 3 blocks, okay.
Actually went out there today to meet with Mary, and we looked at what she had. Robert had already met with her. There were 3 bids, of course. He took the lowest bid on that, and he knows the company that's doing that. And so that will take care of the floor. The floor in the first office, as you go into, has been done. It is the middle lobby area where they meet the dogs a lot of time, and it is where the back where the dogs are. And it's going up the wall in a couple of places because there's some cracks in there where mice are getting in. And then they're gonna go up 3 blocks as well around the edge where they've had to wash off different stuff from the animals, and that's all been flaking off, so that'll take care of that.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Second budget amendment is for the county clerk's office. They're requesting to move $7,000 from their data fees into office supplies for supplies and things needed for the new Mount Juliet office.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, the motion and a second. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign.
Third budget amendment is for the PEG channel, and it is for the wall-mounted camera system and master controls that would allow the cameras to be operated remotely for this room, and I think maybe even the other one, the conference room.
Is the word "got" supposed to be for,
I'm sorry, what was it?
at the explanation?
Got,
Or-
master control. I did not see that, sir. I have no idea what that's supposed to be. Master control for county,
That's the name of it, that's probably
It's
the
the
name,
controller.
yeah,
the name of
Operating
it.
the camera.
yeah,
Will you make sure that's correct before it comes to county commission?
I will.
Thank you.
And up in the top left-hand corner, is that general fund or is that capital projects?
Well, the way that it was presented right now was general, but no, it's capital projects. You're right. It should be, that fund name should be capital projects. So we got 2 corrections to make on this. The fund name is capital projects, and then the Good catch, Dan.
How many cameras?
There's-
1,000 gonna cover?
There's 3 cameras in here and 1 camera in the commission meeting room.
Four total.
4 total.
So about 13,000 apiece. That include any software or anything?
That's
It's-
installation, everything,
As far as we were told, it does it all.
the whole package.
It's the whole thing.
Complete pack.
Seems like a lot.
She says this is all she will need for a long time.
No tripping over cable.
She got 3 bids, on that as well. She was in the FDR, didn't she?
Mhm.
Public Works.
One of those bids was 37,000 and the other one was 12 something, they came from different companies, which was a little,
You talking about a piece or for the whole amount?
for the whole thing. And it came up to 50,777,
We rounded.
they approved
Rounded
not
it
to
up.
exceed 51,000.
Yes.
Rounded it up.
So there's a little wiggle room built in there, a couple $100. Public Works did, when I say that.
Ozzy would have done that Tuesday.
I don't know.
Hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Hear a second? Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I will vote it on to the county commission. I know it's a lot of money, but, I know it's not billions, but just my 2 cents.
I'd like to say one thing from the cable TV committee. I know when we stood up the PEG channel, part of the budget for the PEG channel every year is labor of all these high school students. This is gonna reduce some of that labor cost in that annual budget by having fixed mounted cameras. So it's gonna be an offset.
At the same time, to couple what he said, because we talked to this before, she still needs help because she'll still be running this. She will not be in here anymore. The cameras will set, at the top, so she won't be transferring her stuff over. And she can leave that in one place, and there'll be a control room in the back that she'll actually run this from, so she won't be in here either. And so this is, and then we also knew that as this goes on, we may have other people that will wanna come and do some programs here, and the cameras are already set, so it'd be easy for somebody to come in and make a presentation, by simply pushing a couple of buttons, you can record whatever. So there's multiple uses for this. She's had these bids for a little while, and I know I talked to Diane the other day, we didn't wanna let the bids run out, but as far as the, mechanism of doing it, it's saving all the wires that are on the floor here every time. If you see these guys doing here, that'll be permanent, and they'll run it from another.
And if I'm not mistaken, she said it'll be to where she can see everybody. Because now she can't see everybody the way
Correct.
things are operating, so if I'm
The
mistaken.
3 cameras in here will be mounted on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, I think it's an upgrade. We didn't have TV for a long time, now we do, and then now it's just another step in that direction. But if you would like to see the detailed bids and stuff before the county commission meeting, I can take care of you on that. Okay? I'll get the details. She may have to explain it to you, but I'll go over that. So I'll do that.
Okay, anything else? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Unanimous?
Next one is from the Sheriff's Drug Fund. It's moving money out of law enforcement equipment into drug control payments. Just a line item transfer.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the amendment for Sheriff's Department. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
Next one is WEMA has taken money into the budget for the Homeland Security grant we get pretty much every year, and then splitting it out into the 2 expenditure lines.
Hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve WEMA amendment. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
And the next one is transfer where some surplus items were sold asset number 141 and number 163, and please don't make me go to my asset list and look those up and tell you what they are. I can if you want me to. But 2 were sold for a total of $5,771.25, which they're asking to put into line 735 of the ambulance fund.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Any opposed?
And with that, I can hand it over to Mr. Michael.
We have 2 things tonight. The first one is a budget amendment for our after-school care program, and that is due to having longer after-school hours due to COVID. Our site directors had to work longer hours than they normally do, and it's just a line item transfer. We're not requesting any additional funds.
Motion to approve.
A motion and a second to approve. Any questions? Comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
The second thing we have before y'all tonight is a transfer resolution, and that is so that we can transfer cash from our general purpose school fund into our federal projects fund. And that'll be a temporary transfer, and that's so that we don't go into a deficit as we spend our federal grant dollars. That is a reimbursement-based grant, and we have to spend it before they'll reimburse us.
Approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the transfer resolution. Any questions? Anybody? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? That's everybody. Okay, Mayor Aaron, what's our schedule for next week concerning?
Budget schedule.
Yes, sir.
It is just like it was that I sent out to you. I'll pull my calendar and get it back out. But what I remembered here, just going back to my memory, do you have it?
I do.
Yeah. Good.
So, again, the last sentence of what we said before is we have now from tonight until May 17th to review all the documents that you've been presented this evening. On May 18th and 19th, the Budget Committee will meet at 6 p.m. to accept all department budgets, which really is, that's the night we'll go over the needs list. So we'll take half the departments on the 18th and the second half on the 19th. Each department will present their status quo budgets and their needs list at that time. On the 24th and 25th, there's to be a joint Budget and Education Committee meeting at 6 p.m. to accept the school budgets, which will already have their growth money figured in. And then once we get growth money estimated for the general purpose budget, the Budget Committee will meet to finalize the general purpose budget and grant needs request. And these meetings are scheduled for June 1st and June 2nd, starting at 6 p.m. If there is a need for a county commission budget workshop, it will be in June at it will be June 3rd at 6 p.m. in the commission room.
So is there any meetings next week?
No, sir.
And the 24th and 25th that we got, if we get it done on the 24th, we don't have a need for the 25th. Same thing on the 1st and 2nd of June, I think, or whatever that one is. You know, I will resend that schedule out, but we're on the same timeline. We'll see if something major. Mike, you look like you got,
When you said next week, my dates are all running together, Mayor, and I thought there were meetings.
I did too, for some
Yeah.
reason.
That scares me when there's not. Not really, I mean, I'm being, but I thought there was. Are y'all meeting next week?
So 17, 18, 24, 25, and 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'll rewrite that and get it out to you this week, or probably Monday.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? New business, old business?
Well, I got a question I was gonna ask Aaron. He's already I've already said something to him about it once. And Mayor, you can chime in on this one too. I was asked by a constituent, when are we gonna ever get past our status quo?
Right, and I'm assuming, Annette, the question coming from a constituent, what they want to see, again, assumption, is what they would like to see us do is to start with something like a zero-based budget or something where we start below where we were last year is where I'm assuming their question was.
Yeah, all right.
So let me tell you what I think is wrong with zero-based budgeting. First off, that was a concept that started with Jimmy Carter. He didn't originate it. They tried it at the federal level and quickly dispatched it. What's wrong with zero-based budgeting is it pretends to start with that the mayor's office is not going to exist next year, that WEMA is not going to exist next year, that the sheriff's department is not going to exist next year. So you would literally build a budget from various scenarios under zero-based budgeting to have an office that only had a mayor, to an office that had a mayor and one receptionist, to an office that had a mayor and two receptionists, up to an office that had a mayor and 10, okay? That's overkill. It takes too long. This county is growing. We're not going backwards. So do I see us ever not starting with where we ended last year? Maybe in an isolated instance here or there, but I really don't see that.
Well, I got asked a question because I was told that the city of Lebanon, and my explanation is you can't compare the county to the city because we operate a complete different, and we have a lot more things like like a jail and schools.
Sure.
And all the things that we have to. So that's the way I kind of answered the question, but I wanted to make sure that I was answering it correctly because we don't work on the same operating budget pretty much that they do.
You're correct, and I think the mayor has something.
And I think one thing too to point out to them is that we started this a while back too. We list 3 years in a row.
Right.
So you look at what actually was spent. So if you see some line items in there that they never use, they see it too, it's kind of clear, then we may move some of that around or take some of it back. We a long time ago, we talked about when we were doing the $5.99s and $7.99s and all those, taking them out. We said, hey, look, let's just cut the animal control budget. They didn't use all their money last year, but then we realized that that caused people to spend money that really they just didn't have a need for, but they said, hey, look, I don't spend it, they're gonna take it away from us, I'm gonna buy a bunch of pencils. So we said, let's don't do that, but we take a glance, so we actually, with the status quo, we start out, that's what we start with as a base, but then we look here, if we wanted to make some movements, or you see where they're not spending wisely, I mean, I think we all know, we get by right now on a thread to begin with.
Right.
And then we stay within our means simply because we say status quo, and then we take the growth money and the needs, and we figure out what is the best, we meet the maintenance of effort for education. So, I mean, I think the process that y'all done has worked. I think your fund balances that you've built have shown, and I think the list of accomplishments that you've done, I mean, your product has been good.
Well, I don't disagree. I just want to throw it out there because it was asked to me, and I kind of explained it the same way you did because we kind of operate different. We have a lot more responsibilities. Not saying that they don't have them, but our responsibility is a lot different than what the cities have.
Sure.
I just think I can't speak for nobody else, but I think what you guys have done over the past several years has been good. You haven't put yourself in a hole, and we've had to spend. We've got more money coming in. We've got more services that are needed. I think I was talking to Dr. Wright today, and we started with 14,000, now we're up to almost 20,000 students. I mean, so y'all had to take care of all of those people that's moved here. And I think you've done well.
Well, I wanted to throw it out there.
Talk to me if you want me to.
No, I mean, that's fine. Because when I was asked that, they said, well, why is the city of Lebanon employees are getting raises and the city, I said, well, you comparing, apples to grapefruits here. It's complete different. It's not the same, no matter what numbers you put on it. Because there's a lot of things we do, they don't have to, and vice versa. So I just want to make sure I was explaining it correctly. I think you did a fine job. Thank you.
Okay, is there anything else that needs to be brought up this evening? One more motion.
Second.
Motion to adjourn and seconded. Thank you very much. Y'all be safe going home.